All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's live stream. In today's stream, we are going to be discussing episode 41 of Ninjago, The Forgotten Element. Now, this episode is really good, all things considered. Just saying so right out the bat. Thank you so much, everyone who's joining us here today. Happy New Year's Eve and happy last day of 2020. It's about time, right? Yeah, if in case you guys are just joining us here for the first time, welcome. In these streams, we stream Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time, with an episode review and a Q&A. And obviously, the episode review will not be taking up the entirety of the stream, so we will jump into Q&A pretty much after we get done with the review, usually about 20-25 minutes in. And obviously, we will update this day by day. If there's ever a day where I cannot stream, I will let you guys know. Today is the last stream of 2020, last stream of the new year. What's our drink? We got a water bottle. Just going in just basic today. But yeah, it's the last stream of the year. I want to take this opportunity to, I guess, thank you guys for the year. I'm not going to be uploading a 2020 celebratory video today because there's not really a whole lot of stuff that happened this year that I can really say is good, for anyone. I mean, I didn't really have any movies that I liked coming out this year. There wasn't a lot of anything, and obviously with the pandemic, it was pretty much just a big mess. But I wanted to thank you guys for the actual progress that we made on this channel this year, because we made a lot of progress. We're almost at 90,000 subscribers as of the time of doing this stream, so thank you all so much for making it to this point. And also, this is the year that we started these live streams. Of course, it was very recent, a few months ago, but we still started them this year, and they've been really fun over the course of the year. So thank you very much for that. Thanks a lot for tuning into these streams, and thanks for just being supportive in every way. I'm really happy to also see the progress of Ninjago this year. I felt like Ninjago had a very good year for 2020, all things considered, at least in terms of, the seasons. There were a few, tragedies in the Ninjago scene this year, which unfortunately weren't all that great. But in terms of seasons, we had Prime Empire and Master of the Mountain, two very cool seasons there. So I just wanted to take this brief opportunity at the beginning of the stream to, look back on 2020, because I'm not going to be doing a video. So let's go ahead and get to it with the actual episode review. We're going to be letting the episode run in the background. We're going to be letting the slides run as we discuss the plot, the good, the bad, and finally I will give it a score out of 10. In terms of questions, you can ask anything that you want. Obviously, if you just have like a general question, you might want to wait until the Q&A section, but anything regarding the actual episode at hand, feel free to say so during the actual, review portion. So we will get into Q&A here, as I said, in a little bit. So if you had a general question, might want to wait until that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started with this episode. Thank you guys very much for the progress this year. So the Forgotten Element, it begins in the Anacondre Temple, picking up where the last episode left off, where the fighters are all captured and Chen and Skylar welcome them. Of course, Kai is still kind of sore about Skylar being the spy, so obviously there's a little bit of tension between those two. Kai and Skylar have a brief discussion where Kai talks about his feelings and asks if it was Chen's idea to make Kai actually fall for Skylar, which is super cute, if I must say so. Rewatching it, I totally forgot that that part was in there, and I, audibly went, "Aw," because Kai and Skylar are super cute. But yeah, Chen manages to steal all their powers, which is less cute, but Kai is spared from going to the factory. Everyone else gets punished to the factory, but Kai gets to stay on ground, alongside Chen, at the request of Skylar, so we'll see more of that later on. Meanwhile, the rest of them get sent to the factory, but Lloyd, Nia, and Garmadon are preparing for their plan to basically storm the entire facility and try to defeat Chen right here, right now. So that's what Lloyd's plan is. The fighters arrive at the factory, and Jay manages to reunite with Cole and Zane, which is super cool. I love seeing more people reunite with Zane, and by the end of the episode, pretty much everybody does. So that's cool. And they're almost done building the Rotojet, to which Jay questions the logic about the rotojet and how exactly they're going to be, breaking out of there if they're underground with a jet. But positive thinking, that's been a theme throughout this episode. So yeah, the power of positive thinking can get anything done, clearly. Meanwhile, Chen is basically giving Kai the son he never had treatment. He's kind of showing him around his collection, lots of random stuff throughout Chen's halls, and Kai obviously isn't really getting to it. He's kind of still upset, but Chen basically offers Kai a seat at the table, which I think is super cool. He's kind of like, again, like treating Kai like the son he never had, so I think that's super fun. But he does mention, I guess, Kai's jealousy, kind of pokes at the fact that maybe Kai is still a little bit sore about not being chosen to be the Green Ninja, to which Kai declines, but we all know it's true. Chen also drops the ball that he knows secrets about Kai and Nia's parents that Sensei Wu nor Garmadon never told him. So big stuff there kind of will lead into the next couple of seasons of Ninjago with the different elemental powers that run in the family and whatnot. But that pretty much gets Kai on board. He's not really super on board, obviously, because he's not going to betray his friends necessarily, but he does, I guess, get intrigued by this. At this point, Klaus kind of interrupts and says that Garmadon and Lloyd are pretty much coming, and that's exactly what's going on. Lloyd, Nia, and Garmadon at this point decide to raid the temple, and Garmadon takes on Klaus pretty much right off the bat. Lloyd pretty much travels underground in order to take on Chen and try to end this whole thing once and for all. He's actually attacked by Klaus's pet serpent, which of course isn't all that great. Kai manages to show up though and presumably lead him away, so that's cool. Kai is actually, you know, a good guy here and actually is trying to help Lloyd until he blows out the torch and apologizes to Lloyd, and that's when we know that it's pretty much going to go down here. Kai, quote unquote, betrays him. Obviously, not super, you know, betraying him because, you know, obviously Kai is still a good guy, but he still manages to put Lloyd up against Chen, which really isn't all that great. Kai uses the logic that Lloyd will pretty much never beat Chen on his own, so he just figured, you know, just get it over with, obviously. So Chen attacks Lloyd, and the final round of the tournament has begun. The final round is actually Chen versus Lloyd, which clearly isn't going to go all that well for Lloyd. Chen basically has every elemental power as of this point, except for Lloyd's element, which is the last one that he needs, and using all those powers, Chen really just overwhelms Lloyd right off the bat, so yeah, not super great on Lloyd's part. He actually loses the round, and Chen defeats Lloyd using all of the elements. Nia and Garmadon are captured, and they wake up in this weird dungeon thing filled with skeletons and skulls, and it's just really not a good place to wake up in. But then Chen appears, and he announces that he did indeed beat Lloyd. He's there with Klaus, Skylar, and Kai, and he basically, quote unquote, recruited Kai, so that's cool. Yeah, really fun there. So Nia basically asks Kai what happened, you know, why he decided to betray them. Kai obviously hasn't fully betrayed the ninja, he's just kind of pretending to get under Chen, and at this moment in time, they decide to leave. Garmadon instead decides to attack Skylar, and Chen doesn't care, and that's also why I really enjoy Chen's character. He just does not care about his daughter, which is very unfortunate, but it fits his character, it fits his villainous persona, and Garmadon basically is forced to let Skylar go. Garmadon's pretty much shocked by this. Skylar isn't really too thrilled about that either. I mean, she could have died there, but, you know, Chen basically chose to just not care. But they leave, and at this moment, Kai makes it very clear to Nia and Garmadon that he's actually faking his recruitment. He pulls Skylar aside later on and actually discusses a plan for a team-up, which Skylar at this point kind of agrees with, because obviously Chen just almost let her die at the hands of Garmadon. So yeah, I wouldn't really want to, I guess, stay loyal to my father if that happened. So yeah, but no, I really like that about Chen's character. It shows here that he truly just doesn't care about anything. He just wants, yeah, as the chat says, he just wants power, which is, you know, it's true. Chen has all the elements at this point, and or except not all the elements. He still needs Skylar's and Lloyd's, and the actual, I guess, ceremony is about to begin. Meanwhile, back in the factory, the rotojet is actually up and running, and the actual ninja themselves and the other downed elemental masters use this opportunity to escape. The fighters attack everyone, and they manage to escape with the rotojet fully 100%, making their plan a success, which is really awkward considering how they built a jet underground, but hey, that's neither here nor there. Meanwhile, we get back to the ceremony where Chen has Skylar give up her power, which she reluctantly does, but she does it anyway, still trying to pretend like she is on her father's side, and Lloyd enters in, and Chen steals Lloyd's power too. Now he has all of the elements. At this moment, we actually cut back to Garmadon and Nia, where the pet anaconda serpent owned by Klaus is here, and he is ready to consume Garmadon and Nia, so that's not good. As soon as it seems like it's going to go wrong, the rotojet crew busts in and just kills the serpent. they, there's not really any other way of putting it. They just show up and gun it down, which is fun. But yeah, the anaconda serpent dies there, and Nia manages to reunite with Zane, so that's cool. Always nice to see more people reuniting with Zane, but now they need to go ahead and stop Chen from actually completing the spell. So after Chen has taken Lloyd's power, Kai and Skylar basically start their siege. The actual spell has already begun by Klaus, so now it's time to go ahead and make things actually go down. So Kai and Skylar betray Chen, take the staff and manage to get rid of pretty much everybody there. So that's cool. They basically immobilize Klaus, take on some of the other Anaconda warriors, and Chen's surprised at this point. It's not like super cool of them, obviously. The power begins to corrupt Kai, though. Kai clearly can't handle the power that's in the staff, and that's pretty much the most famous scene of this episode. Kai gets corrupted by the actual staff of elements because it's just too much power for him to handle. He makes it clear here to Lloyd that he is still jealous that Lloyd was chosen to be the Green Ninja, and obviously it's just not great for anyone. He tries to attack Lloyd and Skylar, but the Rotojet team attacks and basically distracts Kai, knocks down the staff, and it's just chaos. The Rotojet team makes it very clear that they are here for business. What am I saying? The actual staff gets lost, and Kai and Chen Seed at the same time race to it. Kai gets it first and manages to destroy it, therefore sending the elemental power out towards everyone. So everyone restores their power again, and somehow Cole and Zane get their Zukin suits. Not so clear what that's all about. But yeah, the important thing is the ninja team is back together for the first time in a long time here, fully powered up and fully ready to go. Chen and Klaus are forced to retreat at this point, but they do capture Skylar because clearly they need someone to hold hostage. But the ninja reunite and they take over the entire island. We cut to the next day, and the fighters are now in control. Chen and Klaus are nowhere to be found alongside Skylar, and the rest of the episodes in this season will be focused on saving Skylar and also stopping Chen, who is still at large on the island. But at least they stopped the spell for now. But they are going to be focusing on rescuing Skylar as the ninja team is reunited fully. So that's pretty much where the episode ends. One of my favorite things about this episode was seeing the ninja reunite. It was super cool seeing the 5 of them together. Of course, Nia was not a ninja at this current point in time, but it was kind of cool seeing them all reunite together. It was really fun seeing Zane back. Everybody reunited with Zane. Everyone's aware of Zane's new titanium form, and yeah, it's super fun, all things considered. I do have a lot of good stuff to talk about in this episode, so let's go ahead and continue. The first thing that I want to discuss is Kai, Chen, and Skylar. Their dynamic is super cool in this episode. The 3 of them together make for a very interesting team, if you will. Team, heavy quotations around the word team, because of course Chen thinks he's recruited Kai and thinks he still has control over Skylar, which is basically false on all of those. But Chen pretty much makes it clear in this episode, as I mentioned earlier, that he just does not care about anyone that he's close to. He doesn't care about his family. He doesn't care about Skylar, and he made that very clear when Garmadon tried to attack her, and Chen just was like, whatever. So yeah, Chen's not a very good guy, but I feel like he's a very good villain because of that, and that's also why I enjoy him a little more as well. Also, I do need to mention how there are a few hints towards some future seasons of Ninjago, with Chen mentioning that he knows secrets about Kai and Nia's parents, which will obviously lead into the next season where their mother is revealed to be the Master of Water, and Nia inherits her powers from her, obviously. But I also really enjoy Kai in this episode. You can kind of see that he is kind of honestly going back and forth with deciding whether or not to join Chen or, just go against the ninja or, whatever. He's basically conflicted, which I feel like is a pretty cool thing for Kai's character. It definitely builds upon it. But he does get corrupted later on in the episode, and I do feel like that's a very vulnerable thing to see Kai in. He's in a position of power that he clearly cannot handle, and when all that goes down, it's actually super scary to see Kai act that way. Granted, it's pretty much how he was thinking the entire time. The staff just kind of showcased that to everyone, but still, that's scary. The fact that he still is kind of jealous of Lloyd becoming the Green Ninja, I thought he got over that. It's very clear that in Season 5, the next season, he's very much, good with that now, so that's fun. But in this episode, his, I guess, weaknesses are showcased, and it's not a bad thing. I feel like Kai overall got a lot of development this season, and this episode is not really a stranger to the Kai development department. They do a really good job at expressing his character here and showing off his flaws, and I feel like Kai overall is a very good focus character for this season. I also need to touch on Lloyd versus Chen. The final round in the tournament is actually Lloyd taking on Chen with all of the elements, and that's not good for Lloyd. Lloyd pretty much gets destroyed pretty easily this episode. He doesn't really stand a chance against Chen and all of the elemental powers, but he certainly puts up an interesting fight, and it's one of the better fights from this episode. I just had to mention it as one of the good things. The Rotojet team also pulls through this episode, manages to kill Klaus's giant pet snake, which I'm kind of upset about because that thing was awesome, but hey, the Rotojet team is super cool. They managed to build a jet underground and somehow made it effective. That's pretty much good. That's as good as you could get. Building a Rotojet underground didn't seem like a good idea, but clearly Karloff knows what he's talking about, and obviously we just need to just accept Karloff for who he is and just follow him, clearly, because he knows what he's doing. But no, it was super cool seeing the ninja reunite as well. Everyone reunites with Zane this episode, which is super fun because that's been something that we've been waiting for throughout the entire season, and it finally happens here. It's really cool. I bet Karloff builds jets underground a lot. Probably. He seems to know what he's doing. But yeah, everyone reunites with Zane. It's super fun. Obviously, Zane was the goal this season. Everyone was trying to find Zane, and everyone did. And now the goal has changed. The goal now is to rescue Skylar and pretty much get everyone out of the Psycho Island with Chen. So that's fun. But no, I felt like this episode had a lot of good things, especially in the Kai, Skylar, and Chen department. All of them grow as characters, and we get to see a little bit more about what each of their characters actually are motivated by. Again, Skylar really isn't too on board with her father after this episode, and she's made that abundantly clear here. And she also really wants to be on the same side as Kai, so that's cool. But overall, I thought this episode was really well done. No negatives to point out here in terms of bad stuff. I couldn't really find anything that I wanted to nitpick. This episode was pretty perfect. This is one of the best episodes of season 4, at least in terms of my own opinion. I feel like this episode has a lot of good things going for it, especially with Kai and Chen specifically. So I feel like it doesn't really need to be said, but I'm going to be giving this episode a 10 because of everything that I listed in this review. I guess if I wanted to nitpick something, I guess I would nitpick Kapow and Chop because they're obnoxious, but they're not in that episode for that long, so it's not really too big of a deal to me. But let's see what you guys have for scores. Feel free to put a score in the chat for this episode as well. I'm going to be giving it a 10 out of 10, and right now I'm going to be taking a sip of my water. No, pretty perfect episode, all things considered. Easily one of the best episodes. Got a bunch of 10s so far, couple 9s, couple 11s. Pretty high scores, all things considered. A bunch of 10s, actually. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people feel the same way about this episode. Honestly, I think it's a really good thing that this episode gets a lot of love because this episode deserves it. Lots of 10s in the chat. Very, very nice. So yeah, overall, this episode was very solid. I'm excited for tomorrow's episode, which I believe is Day of the Dragon, if I'm remembering that correctly. So that'll pretty much do it for my review here. Yeah, tomorrow we're doing Day of the Dragon. This episode, I'm not sure what I would say my favorite episode of season 4 is, but the Forgotten Element here definitely has some type of, I guess, potential, at least towards my list, to be the top spot in the tournament. Tournament's my favorite season, in case you guys don't know. But as for what my favorite episode is, I feel like this one's a very high contender. So, yeah, I really enjoyed reviewing that episode. Lots of good stuff to talk about. Yeah, Zane's dancing. His head's not screwed on completely. Um, yeah, so let's go ahead and get to it. Now it's time to jump into Q&A. So let's get into some pictures. Let's put on the pilots. Someone wanted the pilots. We got the pilots. In terms of tomorrow, if there's going to be a stream, I'm planning on streaming tomorrow. I don't really consider New Year's Day to be that major of a holiday, but I do feel like I will be streaming tomorrow regardless, unless something changes. There's always a chance that the stream might be canceled, but as of right now, I'm planning on streaming tomorrow. So, but yeah, we basically got Q&A going now for the rest of the stream. So anything and everything we can talk about, just random stuff. This is like one of the most fun parts of the stream to me. Can I make a tutorial on how I make my thumbnails? I'm planning on doing that at some point for the new year. I really want the first video, though, of the new year to be my studio tour, which I will be preparing and filming later today, so I can actually have it up tomorrow as the first video of the new year. So a lot of you guys have been asking for a studio tour for a really long time, so tomorrow it's finally going to be happening, probably the first upload of the day, so stay tuned for that. Today's first video that I made was about the Overlord Dragon upgrade, which a lot of you guys also wanted to see, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. But yeah, studio tour tomorrow, so I'm really excited to film that. Last night I managed to completely build the Air Jitsu Temple, finish that up, as well as the Legacy Monastery, which I had to rebuild again after I brought it back from my parents' house. But yeah, everything's done here. Everything's good to go. So I'm just going to clean up a little bit later on, and I will be filming that studio tour. So I'm sure a lot of you guys will be looking forward to that tomorrow. Very first video. You know, you don't want to miss it. um, let's see, Sensei Garmadon or Lord Garmadon. It's hard to say because Garmadon's a good sensei, but he's also a really good villain. I'd honestly say that he works better as a villain because we've seen him more as a villain, but Sensei Garmadon's good too. I can't really decide between those two. So, um, yeah. What if Nia never became a ninja? I feel like she'll just be a samurai then. Like, because Nia pretty much had it made as Samurai X, but she did become a ninja later on due to her actually having water powers that Wu never told her about. So, no, I feel like overall, if Nia wouldn't have become a ninja, she would have just stayed a samurai, which is pretty obvious, I'd say. Pixel probably would have not become Samurai X at that point unless they wanted to have a team of two Samurai X's that could work too. Do I think the ninja move more stiffly now with the new animation style? I would honestly think the opposite. I think they move a lot more fluidly, especially during fights. I think it works a lot better than some of the earlier animation, like what we saw in the pilots, where they actually were like really stiff, which I feel like makes sense because they were, they were Lego characters, and I don't really feel like they had I guess, a clear grasp on what they wanted to make for the series yet. So no, I feel like the new animation makes them move really well, all things considered. The older animation, I'd say, is pretty stiff if we're going to be talking about stiff animation. Thoughts on Ninjago City Gardens? I think it looks great. I'm going to be grabbing it when it comes out. I believe that comes out the 14th of January for VIP members, February 1st for the rest of the world. I'm going to be grabbing that on the 14th. I am a VIP member, so I'm going to be picking that up early. I'm going to be really excited about that. I don't have a Lego store near me though, so I can't really, drive and pick it up. So I'm probably just going to have to order it online, which is kind of unfortunate, but we will be getting it within the week. So kind of late, but still kind of early at the same time. But no, when I get it, I will be reviewing it as well. So no, I'm really excited to get that set. It looks really fun. It looks like the Ninjago movie city, but for the TV show, which I feel like is probably the best thing that we could have asked for. I think it looks awesome. Getting the Overlord Dragon tomorrow, very nice. Oh yeah, I forgot the actual new Ninjago sets go live tonight then for Legacy 2021 because it's almost 2021. How about that? Yeah, so I'll probably be making a few purchases tonight at midnight when it rolls around with the Lego store. So highly recommend you guys do the same thing if you guys want to get on some Legacy stuff first before anyone else does. So highly recommend you guys do that. I'm going to be doing that around midnight. So, but no, I'm excited for the new year. There's a lot of stuff that I want to leave behind in 2020, so I'm excited to go ahead and move forward and try to improve myself a little bit too. I got a couple of New Year's resolutions, specifically getting up and moving more because with doing YouTube full time, just sitting at a desk for the majority of the day doesn't really do wonders for my actual body. So I want to go ahead and get to it more. I feel like that's like everyone's go-to New Year's resolution, but I'm going to try my best to do it. Favorite Ninjago character? Well, Cole's my favorite ninja. Skylar's my favorite side character, and Garmadon's my favorite villain. So you could pretty much say any of those three. I'd say either Cole, Skylar, or Garmadon. Probably in that order. If we're being honest, I'd say Cole's my first favorite, followed by Skylar, followed by Garmadon. So perhaps, perhaps that's how I would rank them. Do I like Avatar: The Last Airbender? I haven't seen it. I've only seen the first few episodes of it, but from what I've seen, I've really enjoyed it. I want to continue watching it at some point, but I got a lot of other stuff to get through first. That's something else that I've been doing recently. I've been trying to watch more new stuff on my list, so I don't like have this eternal backlog that just never goes away. So I've been making it through a few anime series that I'm still trying to watch. So yeah. Why do I say so much? Because I talk a lot. It kind of helps for videos because I can just if I know a lot about one topic, I can basically talk about it for a long time. Which of course, in the case of Ninjago, I know a lot about Ninjago, so I get to talk about it a lot, and I get to do it for a job, so it's really fun. So glad Cole and Jay's drama is over. Yeah, I feel like now they're pretty much really good friends at that point, or at this current point in time. Their only drama was in season 3 and 4, so, and I feel like they're kind of over that at this point. Okino versus Wu. Um, I don't know who would win in that scenario. I feel like Wu because he has a lot more experience, but Akino's a really skilled fighter, so I'm probably gonna side with Wu honestly in this scenario. Let's switch over to the movie because I like the Ninjago movie. I know a lot of people don't, but I do. Favorite character design probably Cole's as well. I'd say that Cole had the best transition from old design to new design. I feel like he works the best as like the movie design being like an older version of the TV show design. I think he had the best transition, and I feel like he has the best design. I also like Lloyd's movie design and obviously his post movie design in the show. I feel like the green eyes work for Lloyd's character, and I'm happy that we got to actually see that. I think that works really well. Um, what do you think? Season 11, Nia was in her movie civilian clothes when she looked in the mirror of fear. If she never discovered her true potential, she'd never been Samurai X. Yeah, I'm not really too sure about that. um, because yeah, if she hadn't become a ninja, she'd still be Samurai X. So I'm not sure what she's worried about, because if she had, because like her biggest fear is what, just becoming a regular person, or just being a regular person, which she wasn't. Like, yeah, you're right. She was Samurai X before she was a ninja. So I don't know what she has to worry about. It's just like little plot holes like that that I guess kind of make us think. I've mentioned, or I've seen a comment before mentioning how Ninjago has a lot of plot holes, and yeah, that's true. It does, but we try our best to piece it together. And sometimes, if we can't come up with a theory, we just kind of say that, oh, it's just a plot hole. That's pretty much all we can do. Which, of course, is pretty much all we realistically can do. I mean, we can make theories like all day long, but at the end of the day, they're not going to be canon unless someone from the actual show says that they are. So, yeah. Netflix says that Master of the Mountain and Prime Empire are both season 12. Yeah, Netflix has a lot of issues with Ninjago. They got a little bit more that they need to fix yet. They also didn't have the fire chapter on there for the longest time, or the ice chapter, depending on where you lived. So I'm glad that they added that, though. Um, but yeah, overall, I just feel like it's I don't know. I just feel like it's not like too great on Netflix's end because it just confuses people. But that's not Ninjago's fault. That's more on the fault of Netflix itself, the great streaming company that Netflix is. She never went moo. That's what she was afraid of, not becoming anything other than another face in Ninjago City. Yeah, I guess that's accurate, because if she never if she was never kidnapped by the skeletons, then she wouldn't. I guess then Kai wouldn't have become a ninja to go after her, and the ninja team would have never been formed. So, yeah, I guess that's true. If she would not have met Wu and gotten abducted, she wouldn't have become Samurai X or a ninja. But she still would have elemental powers, though, because that's how her bloodline works. She's still Rei and Maya's daughter, meaning that she still obtained water as an element. So I feel like she would have discovered her power at some point sooner than later, or sooner or later, I'd say. Do I want to see Kai as a villain? Absolutely. I feel like season 15 has a good opportunity to make Kai a bad guy. I've been saying that for a while, but I feel like Kai would make a pretty interesting villain. He's obviously the most vulnerable of the ninja, as we saw in the Forgotten Element that we just reviewed. He's one of the most vulnerable ninja in terms of emotions, so I feel like Kai being a villain wouldn't be too far fetched. I feel like overall, I feel like that's a really good idea. Do I think the Oni could have done more? Yeah, for sure. The Oni kind of felt like really one-note villains, and that's my biggest issue with March of the Oni. So clearly, I don't really feel like there's a lot of stuff going on with that. They could have done more, obviously, and they could have made them a little bit more intimidating. They could have adopted the Omega a little bit more. Um, but no, I feel like overall the Oni were kind of just average villains. Not too great, but also not terrible. We've seen worse villains throughout Ninjago, in my own opinion. But yeah, the Oni could have definitely done more. So I guess that's my thoughts on the Oni. Kind of disappointing, but March of the Oni is still super good for a lot of other reasons, especially the relationship between Lloyd and Garmadon, which is still like one of my favorite things about that movie slash season slash whatever you want to call March of the Oni. In the States here, it aired as a movie, so I always just kind of see it as a movie, but I also see it as season 10. What's the best flashback? I think Zane's origins, whenever we flash back to them in the actual show, I think those are the best ones, because Zane has a lot of mystery surrounding him. He's obviously not, human. He's a robot, unlike some of the other ninja. So obviously, I don't feel like that does a whole lot of, I guess, explaining for his character. There's a lot of mystery. So whenever we get a flashback regarding Zane's past, or his powers, or his father, or his creation, I feel like it's a really good thing, especially for his character. We get to see a little bit more about him and what he is and how he got his powers. So, no, I feel like Zane has the best backstory and the best flashbacks whenever we get them. So, where do I watch Ninjago? I watch it on Netflix mainly. Whenever I want to rewatch an episode for these streams, I do so on Netflix, because that's pretty much where they have a large majority of everything. It's pretty much all on Netflix for everyone to enjoy, except if you don't live in the States, in which case Netflix might look a little different where you are. But it's also available through other means as well, including the link in the description. The top of the description actually has a Google Drive that has all of the Ninjago episodes on there. So if you guys ever want to watch the episodes, feel free to check that out. That was put together by a really cool fan of mine, so yeah, feel free to check it out. He's a really cool guy. Wu's Garmadon versus Garmadon's backstory. I think Garmadon has the more interesting backstory, obviously, because he's made out to be a villain, and he was bitten by the Great Devourer, so clearly it's not gonna work out too well for him there. I feel like Wu had a cool backstory though too, with his involvement with Moro and all that kind of stuff. But Garmadon's backstory was always a lot more interesting. It was always a lot more, I guess, intriguing because he is a bad guy, but he doesn't want to be. It wasn't by choice; it was just by destiny, I guess. Um, so yeah. What if Ninjago had a Family Feud based episode? That'd be weird. I'm not sure why they would do that. Maybe as like a filler episode or something. Maybe they'll go on a game show. Who's to say? I'm still on season 12. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to catch up on, man. Like season 13 is really good. Highly recommend you check it out. Young Garmadon equals Anakin Skywalker. Pretty much. That's pretty much the best parallel I could make. Um, it's actually not too far off. Do you wish we could have seen the Overlord versus the first Ninjutsu Master? Yeah, I feel like if we saw like the actual battle, maybe it would have been a little bit more intriguing. But honestly, with what we saw, we only just saw like various flashbacks in the form of pictures. I feel like that's enough. I don't really feel like we need to see the final or the original final battle, if you will, like the start to the final battle. I don't really feel like we need to see that because it really doesn't have any impact on the current storyline. It would just be fun to see it though, in terms of just a generic flashback, but it's not required. So I guess to answer that question, I wouldn't say no to it, but I also don't feel like it's necessary. We basically saw the first Ninjutsu Master do his best in flashbacks, and that's pretty much all we can ask for. Are the comic relief skeletons still around? I can't remember seeing them as of late. I think it's been a minute since we've seen Cruncha and Knuckle. Can't really remember the last time we've seen them. Kai's movie mech or the Legacy Titan mech. I'll pick the Kai's movie mech. I feel like that's overall a better design. I like the Legacy Titan mech. It actually has knees, which I'm, obviously ecstatic over. But no, the Titan mech itself has a lot of issues from what I found from actually fumbling the thing around for the past few weeks. It's not the most perfect build ever, but it still looks pretty cool. But I'd still prefer some of the movie mechs, especially Kai's fire mech there. So, um, but yeah. Did Cole's grandfather die? Yeah, I think he's out of the picture at this current point in time. I don't think he's still around. A lot of the original Elemental Masters are obviously kind of out of here. And even if Cole's grandfather is still alive, he wouldn't have his powers anymore because I think like powers don't like if a power gets passed on to the child, I don't think the parent is still able to use it unless I'm missing something. I'm just not so sure about that. But no, I don't think Cole's grandfather is still around. As depressing as that is. Dareth or Steve Harvey? Dude, I'd love to hang out with Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey's amazing. If you guys haven't seen Family Feud, Steve Harvey's awesome. What do I think happened to the Master of Form? The Master of Form went on to become a quote unquote bad girl, meaning that she's kind of a low level thug somewhere in Ninjago. I wouldn't say that she's a villain, but she's still a bad guy, if that makes sense. She's definitely not on the Elemental Alliance anymore. So she's still out doing God knows what, disguising herself as various people. Who knows? She could have been right under our noses the entire time. Plot twist: she's fugitive. Confirmed. You heard it here first. But no, she's just out doing whatever. She's basically a bad guy. She's mad at Lloyd because she lost. Yeah, fair enough. So, yeah. But no, that's what happened to her. I have a theory that she kind of recruited some of the other masters as well, because we also don't see, because some of the masters came back in season 9 to help out the ninja during the whole Garmadon threat thing, but some of them didn't, including Bolobo, Jacob, and Ash. So I would think it'd be really cool if the four of them kind of formed like a street gang of elemental masters. I feel like that'd be super cool if they were just like low level thugs. That'd be fun, like committing like petty crimes here and there. That could be super fun. I kind of want to see a filler episode of those four just committing crimes. um, but yeah, no, I feel like overall, it's very obvious that not all of the fighters would be good. You know, Jacob's lost at Chen's Island. She could have recruited them. She could have went back to the island. I feel bad for him though, dude. He's still on Chen's Island. No, I think it'd be cool if they were all kind of like in like some type of street gang. Why does Misako never use Spinjitzu? Who's to say? I think she just chooses not to. We do know that she can use Spinjitzu. We've seen her do it before. She has kind of like a silver Spinjitzu vortex, so that's kind of cool. But no, in terms of where she is, I have no idea. Or what she's doing. She's still like maybe hanging out at the monastery, I guess, because that's where we saw her in season 13, the first episode. So I always kind of imagined that maybe she's just hanging out at the monastery. Blobo was taken by Garmadon. It was confirmed by Skylar. Yeah, but I'm not so sure because we hadn't seen him in the season. I feel like if we saw him, we could have had like a guaranteed answer to it. But if he was taken by Garmadon, he still could have got free at the end of that season. Like it's not like he's still being captured by Garmadon. So the possibility of him being a thug is still there. I feel like he'd make for a really cool biker thug person thing, maybe. But yeah, Masako, I imagine, still just kind of hangs out at the monastery. She's there when she's needed. Most of the time, she's not there, which is kind of disappointing because Masako is a really cool character. But no, I feel like maybe we'll see more of her later on. I'm glad that we saw her in season 13 for a little bit of time. Protect the blind boy. Yes. Um, I think Blobo would be a plant activist. Very well could be. He's probably going to be like one of those people that, kind of, I guess, does PSAs regarding things like global warming and stuff like that. He's like a nature enthusiast. I could see that happening. So, yeah, I think that's more accurate. I feel like I feel like it would be cool though to have I guess like an elemental street gang. I just want to see that happen. I don't think Blobo could be a part of it now. If he's going to be like that type of plant enthusiast, kind of laid back hippie type character, but maybe he could still be there. Maybe he's just going to be confused as to what's going on. Could be. Will Wu be in season 14 or some parts because he's not in any of the new sets? I did a video on that a while ago. I predicted that maybe he'll just be in the background again because we've seen Wu kind of be absent from various set waves before. Like I don't think he was in Prime Empire at all. But he was still in the show clearly. So I feel like he will be in season 14, but he'll kind of be in the background, if that makes sense, which is kind of unfortunate. But at least Wu got some type of highlighted role in season 13. I mean, at least he was in there a lot. But I don't know. I'm kind of tired of like Wu being shoved to the background, and him not being in any of the season 14 sets does kind of concern me. But then again, we only have 4 sets, so it's not like they can include as much as they want to in these sets because there's very little of them. So maybe he's back in his funk again. Yeah, it could be. Um, Beloved did awkwardly walk in on Jay earlier in the tournament, so that's the thing. Yeah, so he's not like a super good guy. He does have like some qualities to him that aren't super great. Like you don't do that. Like if you do that, you're probably gonna get arrested. So don't be. There you go. New hashtag. Don't be Belobo. Which do I like more, the fire or the ice chapter? I think the ice chapter is a little better. The fire chapter has a lot of issues, I'd say. The ice chapter improves on those, but it's still not perfect. What's my take on Fugitive? He's cool. He's a fun villain. He's fun to just know that he exists. It's fun to just have him walk around Ninjago. I think it was really cool how we saw that one bit. I forget what season it was in, but he kind of does like the Spider-Man 3 thing where he's just walking up and down the road, just like snapping at people. That's fun. But no, Fugitive's a fun character, all things considered. He's not like an amazing character, but he's also not terrible. I wouldn't welcome him in willingly, but I wouldn't be upset if he was here, you know? Do I think Kilo and Ultraviolet are related? That's something that I've been thinking about for a while. Watching Sons of Garmadon over break, that's something that actually did come to mind. I was wondering if they were related because they have like the same type of skin tone, and obviously they're in like the same group. So like maybe they could be related. I'm not exactly sure what Kilo and Ultraviolet are. Are they human? Are they not? Surely Kilo can't be human. He's like much too large. But I could see Ultraviolet using some type of like makeup or face paint or something like that. But no, I feel like there's a high possibility that they could be related. I've always thought that could have been an interesting subject to explore, but I don't think we have anything confirmed about that. So Ultraviolet, Kilo, and Mechanic are still on the loose after Prime Empire. Maybe they could be the new street gang. I mean, Sons of Garmadon was pretty much like a motorcycle gang, but they had like an ulterior motive. They were still trying to, revive Garmadon. I just want to see like a low-level kind of like petty crime street gang that really doesn't go above and beyond like some of the other villains have. I think that could be super fun. Led by make Fugitive lead it. I mean, I don't really care at this point. I feel like that could make for a super fun like filler episode if we just saw like a bunch of just random thugs that just kind of explore Ninjago and just do really petty stuff, kind of similar to what the Bizarro Ninja were in season 2, because they kind of they just did really awkward stuff, put old ladies up in trees. I want to see that, but for like an entire gang, that could be awesome. Why is Kilo the only character with fingers? I don't know, man, but his fingers are creepy. Like, Kilo was never a character design that I loved. I always thought he looked super strange, especially in the sets with like the big fig body, but like the teeny tiny minifigure head. I always just thought he looked super weird and super strange, and I'm kind of glad that I never ended up getting his figure. Um, but yeah, him having fingers, it's not like a good thing. It's kind of strange, very weird. We need Pink Zane again. Yeah, I agree. I'm just happy that we got him in Prime Empire, especially in a set. I mean, that's like a dream come true, is to get Pink Zane. I feel like it would work. It would have worked a little bit better in Legacy though, but it does work in Prime Empire. He's just like an avatar that someone has been using in the game, so that's pretty much an excuse to put in Pink Zane there. Why does he have a teeny tiny minifig head? Who's to say? Maybe it's because he's not like super bright, but he's super strong. Maybe he's that type of character. So. Kilo and Dogshank are big figs, so they're probably like a different kind of Ninjago humanoid. Yeah, that's pretty much all we can pretty much confirm at this point. I mean, Kilo surely can't be like human like the rest of the Ninjago characters. He's just really he's not comfortable to look at, if that makes sense. His design kind of grosses me out, if we're being real. Dogshank isn't too bad though. At least Dogshank wears gloves. She doesn't have like the weird finger type things that Kilo has. What do I think is up with Clutch? Is he a Nauticon in disguise or working for Nauticon? Who's to say? I mean, at the beginning of, I think it was Prime Empire, we saw Nauticon's teapot kind of explode onto Clutch. So there's like a theory that Clutch Powers is just Nauticon disguised, which I think could be super fun. Maybe Nauticon's going to be the Vengestone buyer the entire time and it's just been under the ninjas' noses. That could be cool. I'd honestly welcome that plot twist if that were to be a thing. But we know that Clutch Powers is kind of going to be receiving a little bit of a larger role in season 14. So who knows? Maybe that actually is something that that we can actually see happen. Is that the real Brent Miller? Hold on, I need to check. If so, that's amazing. I can't see. Oh no. He says we need more Pink Zane comments. So guys, just spam the chat with Pink Zane. Brent said so. But yeah, if that is the real Brent Miller, hey, welcome, man. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Um, but yeah, Pink Zane. He certainly is a cool looking chap, isn't he? But no, what were we talking about? Yeah, Nauticon potentially being the Vengestone buyer. Very well could be. Look at all the Pink Zane in the chat. It's beautiful. But no, Pink Zane is quite lovely. Thanks, dude. Just saw your live. Yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in, man. You're amazing. Keep up the fantastic work. I'm being dead serious too. I mean, like Zane's probably one of the best voices in the show, if we're being real. I also really enjoyed your hotshot voice too. That's another one of my favorites from Armada and Energon Transformers. I think it is the real Brent Miller. That's amazing. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do I think that Fugitive could be a serious villain with all the future seasons with this character? Very well, could be. Fugitive, I feel like right now is just kind of a one-note kind of side villain type character that really doesn't have that much seriousness surrounding him. He's just kind of an awkward, bumbling character, if you will, which I feel like works. I feel like we need a lot more characters like that. So yeah. I feel like Fugitive is a pretty interesting character, all things considered. I don't think he could ever be a main character, like a main villain, main bad guy, but I still feel like he works kind of like as a side villain. Like we've seen him in a couple of filler episodes, so it's pretty much all we can ask for. Uh, where was Pink Zane in Prime Empire? You can kind of see him in the background in some of the scenes in Prime Empire. Somebody had a Pink Zane avatar in the game, so that's kind of cool. I feel like that's the best way to introduce it. And obviously, we got him in the Gamers Market set, so I feel like overall that's pretty much as best we could do with that. Obviously, unless you wanted to put Pink Zane in Legacy somewhere, but Prime Empire was a pretty good spot for him. Detective Zane. Yeah, that was pretty much one of the best, I guess, recent examples of a side story episode. The detective episode with Zane and Pixel. That one was actually really well done. I kind of enjoyed that, all things considered. It was a nice change of pace. I agree we do need a minifigure for him, though. Detective Zane. Absolutely. Who built Ouroboros? Presumably the earlier Serpentine tribes did that, created the City of the Snakes, and that's pretty much been passed down from generation to generation. So I guess that's it. um, yeah, the Detective Zane persona was really good. Whoever voiced that guy was awesome. Yeah, I wonder who that could have been. He was such a cool guy. Um, is Skylar based on Ariana Grande? I doubt it, man. If that's true, then Skylar just got knocked down a bunch of pegs for me. No, I really don't think that was an influence, if we're being honest. Will we get Wedding Nia? We totally should. There's just a lot of characters that Ninjago still needs to make as like actual minifigures. Various other examples, such as again Wedding Nia, Detective Zane. There's a bunch of other minifigures that we totally should get in future, either minifigure packs or different I guess sets, depending on what you wanted to do. There's a lot of potential. We still need the Elemental Master of Form as well. Um, in one paragraph, what is your guess on what the next season is about? So I'm going to go ahead and say that maybe season 14, The Island, is going to be taking place on a deserted island in which Lloyd and Nia were on some type of routine mission but got stranded, and then the other ninja have to venture to the island to save them from the evil Chief Mamatus and the Keeper's tribe. I guess that would be my best prediction. There's not a lot to say right now in terms of, I guess, confirmed information. So that's just my best guess. I hope that's somewhat accurate to what's going to be going on. Maybe something goes on with Jay as well. Who's to say? But no, I feel like that's what's going to be going on. Will the 2021 sets be available on Amazon tomorrow? I believe so. I mean, they come out tonight. Rolling over with the new year, so maybe they will be coming out on Amazon. I'm not really sure. I have not looked. So when I've done predictions on seasons in the past, how accurate have I been? Pretty hit or miss, if we're being real. Um, I recently did a couple of videos talking about like some theories that I got right, some theories that I got wrong. For the most part, it's been pretty average, I'd say. One of my favorite predictions that I got right though was predicting that Harumi would die in season 9. That actually did come true, and I'm quite proud of predicting that. I don't think it went the exact same way that I had anticipated, but the fact that it still happened kind of baffles me. But then I have also made predictions like in Prime Empire having you know having various other Lego video game themes crossover with it, like Lego Overwatch and Minecraft. So obviously that's not really a big accurate prediction on my end. So sometimes they're accurate, sometimes they're not. I just kind of like to explain and explore a whole bunch of different possibilities of what could happen. Yeah, Harumi bit the dust in season 9. What a spoiler. Yeah, spoilers for Ninjago Hunted. What did I think about Faith from the first realm? She was cool. She was a cool side character. I hope we see her coming back later on. I feel like that'd be a super cool character to bring back and explore. We kind of saw her in March of the Oni a little bit more, so that's fun. But yeah, I feel like she's a really cool character, and they should totally reintroduce her. And did I actually see the splat? We did not see the splat. Ninjago unfortunately didn't show that, but no, you make a valid argument there. If we didn't see the splat, is Harumi actually dead? Maybe she could be somewhere else in the show. Who knows? We saw her pop up in Prime Empire, but as like Avatar Harumi, so clearly it wasn't like the real Harumi. But yeah, interesting point to bring up there. Is she actually dead or not? Um, yeah. Do I think the skeletons will come back? Probably not. I thought maybe they could have been coming back in season 13 because of the whole the dark skeletons that the Skull Sorcerer was kind of recruiting as an army. Um, but no, I feel like they're kind of done at this point. I feel like if they're going to be coming back in anything, they're going to be coming back in the legacy sets if they decide to make any more surrounding the first couple of seasons. So I don't think they're going to be returning in the show. Apparently, Iron Baron is alive, albeit melted. Yeah, he can't be in a good place even if he is alive, because he kind of got melted by the firstborn dragon. So, even if he is alive, he can't be having a good time. I always just assumed that they just kind of left him for dead, if we're being real. Harumi's a cyborg now? Could be. Maybe someone picked her up and kind of built her into a weird cyborg type thing. That could be fun. But no, all things considered, I think Harumi is pretty much written out of the story. Hi to all are saying hi to me. Thank you. Hope you guys enjoy what's coming up next for Ninjago. We're all anticipating it. Thanks a lot for joining us on the stream today. Mr. Brent Miller himself. That's super cool, though. Thanks a lot for tuning in. What if all the ninja were pink in one episode? That could be super cool. If they just did like a pink episode just in honor of that original Ninjago episode where Zane's suit got turned pink. That could be fun. There's a lot of ideas for like one-shot like filler episodes for Ninjago that they very well could produce if they really wanted to. I just don't know what you would do for that. I feel like season 11 explored that opportunity a little bit more. putting out filler episodes with different animation styles, different storylines. Even season 12 did that. In recent memory, we got the anime episodes with season 11. We got the Detective Zane episode with season 12. So there are a lot of cool opportunities that Ninjago could explore if they so desired, as like one-shot episodes. Yeah, Lloyd dyes all the ninja suits pink. That'd be amazing. Close to 100K. When you hit it, what will I do to celebrate? I haven't really decided yet. My main first thing that I was going to do was maybe I was going to sing a cover of The Weekend Whip. I'm not a good singer at all, but I figured it could be fun to just celebrate my time with Ninjago. But yeah, we're super close to 100K. At 90K, we're going to be doing a giveaway, which I've kind of been doing for the past couple of subscriber milestones. I'm not so sure what I'm going to be giving away yet as a set, but we're super close to that too. For 100K, I might do a few other giveaways alongside, like a Weekend Whip cover, if that's something that people would want to see. Um, but no, that's basically the plan right now. I haven't really finalized a super great plan yet, but no, thanks a lot. I'm excited to hit that milestone. I feel like it's going to be awesome. Do I like Skylar more than Zane? Zane's a pretty cool character, but I honestly feel like Skylar's just a little bit better, just a tiny bit, just in terms of my own personal opinion. But Zane's awesome too. Zane is my second favorite ninja behind Cole. um, but yeah, no, Zane's an excellent character. And I'm not just saying that because Brent Miller is in the chat. I'm saying that because Zane is a cool character, all things considered. Ouch. Yeah, Zane is my second favorite ninja, so I just think Skylar's a more intriguing character, all things considered. Why does Zane always die? I feel like the reason why Zane always kind of gets the short end of the stick when it comes to, I guess, injuries and deaths is because Zane's a robot. You can pretty much get away with that in a show like Ninjago, because Ninjago is kind of designed for a younger audience just by default, and Zane is pretty much, I guess, a prime target for tragedies. We've seen him get blown up, thrown off cliffs. You can't do that with a regular human character, but you can do that with Zane because he's a robot. You could always kind of rebuild him and put them back together. So it's not the worst case scenario if Zane gets blown up because you can always rebuild him. But yeah, I feel like that's just because they can't do that with regular human characters. Like imagine if you saw Jay get thrown off a cliff in the same way that Zane did in Sons of Garmadon. That would not work well for Jay. So you do it with Zane because it's easy to do it. So it's only because I know how to do good death sounds. Anyway, I mean, it's open to interpretation, I guess. Um, but yeah, what happened to Kozu? General Kozu, along with the rest of the Stone Army, presumably just disappeared after the final battle ended, after Lloyd defeated the Overlord. The rest of the Stone Army kind of disappeared. We saw Kozu again in Day of the Departed, but yeah, he didn't really do a whole lot. So I guess that's that. But now the Stone Army, you know, just disappeared. It's pretty much the best explanation that we can give. Lloyd got beat up by Garmadon and Sons of Garmadon, yeah, but it wasn't as bad as Zane getting beaten up and thrown off a cliff and kind of left for dead. So, yeah, Lloyd did get his fair share of, I guess, defeats in Sons of Garmadon, but Zane pretty much had it worse, I'd argue. So, stream is now Zane focused. Hey, I'm not complaining. Zane's a cool character. Do I think that Nia will get her old hair back soon because her future self is coming out as that minifigure? I am not sure about that. We are going to be getting a future Nia minifigure along with an upcoming Ninjago character encyclopedia updated book. So that's going to be coming out sometime next year. So I'm excited for that. In terms of whether or not Nia will get her old hair back, I don't think that she will. I think that's just for the figure. I think that they're just going to be doing that for the minifigure. They're not going to be integrating that into the show at all. What happened to me? How many times have I died anyway? Let's go over the Zane demises, if you will. So I feel like the biggest one was obviously in season 3 when Zane sacrificed himself to defeat the Overlord. That was pretty much the big one there, like the big time that we saw Zane, I guess, die. We saw him come back in season 4. A bunch of stuff's happened since. He has gotten his voice box kind of switched up a little bit, head screwed on the wrong way, thrown off a cliff, beaten up, blown up a couple more times, used as a battery in Prime Empire. So yeah, Zane's had a fair bit of tumbles over the seasons, so quite a few times. Did the Fang Blades still exist? I'm not so sure. After they awakened the Great Devourer, I don't think anything crazy happened to them. Maybe they ended up in various museums. I think Clutch Powers had one. Maybe Ronin had a couple of them too. Yeah, Ronin had one because it was put back into the Blade Cup. So yeah, the Fang Blades are still around. So yeah, Zane's basically just a punching bag, but that's just because he's a Nindroid. You know, you can get away with doing stuff. It's an easy way to show, I guess, tragedy in characters, like physical tragedy, and not have it be like to a human character. So, no, I think that's really cool. With only a few minutes left of the stream, let's turn it over to rapid fire questions. Unfortunately, we only have a few minutes left here on the stream, so let's get some rapid questions in the chat. Anything that I can answer with just a quick sentence or two, that'll be a pretty good way to round out the actual stream. So let's go ahead and get that rolling. Um, do I wish that Cole took leadership over Lloyd of the team? I feel like Lloyd is a pretty solid leader, all things considered, but Cole was a pretty good leader when he was leading the team. Kind of had a few different leaders. You had Cole, Kai, and then Lloyd. So if I could have one villain return, who would it be? I'd love to see Garmadon come back. Garmadon is like my dream character to return. We saw him in March of the Oni kind of walk away, but we haven't really seen him since. And I hope that Garmadon can come back eventually, maybe someday. I'd love to see Garmadon back. He's my favorite villain, or one of my favorites. How did Kai get a scar? Probably something from childhood. In terms of how he got his band-aid, it's just because he thinks it looks cool, and that's why he wears it. Who's the better ninja, Lloyd or Kai? I prefer Lloyd over Kai. I'd say that's about accurate. What's my favorite first realm dragon? I'm gonna be a normie here and say the firstborn, just because I feel like it's awesome. It's a lot cooler than the other dragons, at least in terms of the first realm. So, wish Sensei Garmadon would come back. I think it'd be cool if we saw Lord Garmadon back, but he could still be in his Lord Garmadon form, but be a Sensei, kind of combining the two forms of Garmadon. I just want to see Garmadon come back in some way. I'd love that storyline to be resolved at some point in time. Do I think Ronin and Clutch Powers are related in some way? Probably not. I just feel like they have the exact same hobbies, so I guess that's that. When is Dareth going to jail? Hopefully soon. He kind of deserves it. um, Could there be a wizard season? That'd be an interesting idea if the ninja fought more people that did magic. We've seen them go up against magic users in the past, such as Klaus and a couple of other people, so having an entire season based around that could be pretty fun. Who's y'all favorite ninja? Mine's Cole. I think Cole's the best ninja. Followed by Zane, followed by Lloyd, followed by Jay, then Kai, then Nia. That's how I would rank them. Why do I hate Kai? I don't hate Kai. Kai's not even my least favorite ninja. Kai's just is a pretty average character, all things considered. I hope he gets better though. Why do I think Dareth should be in jail? It's just a running joke throughout the streams. You know, the whole hashtag "Don't be a Dareth" thing. Words to live by, because Dareth does a lot of questionable stuff, along with some of the other ninja man. That's just they do a lot of messed up stuff. What happened to the reversal blade? Presumably it got hidden away again after Hands of Time wrapped up. I'm not quite sure where, but it probably got hidden back somewhere, like what it was earlier, before it was kind of retrieved in season 7. Do I think Crux and Acronix will come back? Those are some other villains a lot of people want to see back. Acronix and Crux, the Time Twins. I feel like they totally could return at some point, but even if they don't come back, I feel like it's not going to be the worst thing ever. So yeah. I feel like they need to come back at some point to kind of round out that storyline, but if they never did come back, I wouldn't be too surprised. Let's go ahead and answer one more question before the stream wraps up. One more as I take a sip of my water, and then we can round out the stream there. So, what can we do to celebrate Ninjago's 10th anniversary? That's actually a good opportunity for me to advertise a little bit. So for the 10th anniversary, everyone's going to be doing a lot of different stuff. Ninjago turns 10 years old on January 14th of 2021, and on this channel, we are going to be doing a 10-hour-long live stream. I've updated a trailer yesterday, uploaded that onto the channel, so if you guys want to check out the trailer for that, I put it up yesterday. But no, in terms of what you guys can do to celebrate, there's a lot of other ways that you guys can celebrate too. Even just watching Ninjago on that day is pretty much a way to celebrate. Honestly, it's up to you guys. I just know that on this channel, we're going to be doing a 10-hour stream to celebrate the 10 years that Ninjago has been around. So I'm excited to do that and got a lot of ideas and activities planned for that stream. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. But yeah, everyone's got their own things. I'm also writing a screenplay for a Ninjago finale. So I feel like that could be really fun to finish up. It's not going to be done by the 14th, but I'm going to try to get it out sometime next year. So we all got our different things and our different ways to celebrate. Gotten to do karate sound effects for 10 years. Yeah. And all 10 years, they've been amazing. So keep up the fantastic work, Brent. Thanks a lot for joining us here today on the stream, by the way. Going to celebrate by dying multiple times. Fair enough, man. Everyone's got their own ways of doing it. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the stream here today. The stream pretty much going to wrap it up here today for this one. In case you guys are new here, we stream Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time, with an episode review and a Q&A, and we will update this day by day. If there's ever a day where I cannot stream, I will let you guys know. We can do the end of the stream tradition, where everyone spams the word hug in the chat, because that's pretty much a good way to end things off. But yeah, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks a lot for hanging out and asking questions and listening to the episode review. Tomorrow we are going to be talking about Day of the Dragon for New Year's Day, and I hope you guys have a fantastic New Year's. It's pretty much all that, pretty much that time now. So thanks a lot, and thank you, Brent Miller, for joining us here again. You're awesome. Keep up the fantastic work, and thanks a lot, everyone else, for tuning in too. All of you guys are awesome, and stay tuned on the channel for today. Got a couple more things coming out in terms of videos, but in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the stream and get to making more content. I got a few more things to do today. So thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. You guys are amazing. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Have a fantastic